Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Spirit Art and our Spirit Art question and answer session. Tonight, I've got two wonderful mediums, spirit artists, Angela Mitchell and Deb King. So I'm going to bring them on stage now with me. Hi, Angela. Hi, Deb.
Hi.
Thank you so much for joining us here this evening. Now, from my little counter, we've only got a couple of people on, and we've got our first one saying hello. So, hi, whoever you are. Unfortunately, you've come up as Facebook user. For us to see your name in StreamYard, you need to give StreamYard approval through this link that I'm going to click on screen. Hi, Bernadette. Oh, it's me, Joe. Oh, Joe. Hi, Joe. Joe, if you just put, every time you comment, just put it's Joe and then you comment and then we'll know it's you. And hi, Elspeth. We've got some seasoned people here that know what they're doing in terms of needing to put their names in. That's brilliant. Okay. Right. So what I thought we'd do to start with, just for everybody to know what we're doing, is that both Angela and Deb very kindly will talk us through a little bit about their journey into being spirit artists. And then we're going to open it up for questions from all you wonderful people. No question is too daft, honestly. Just ask. And if we don't know, we don't know. But hopefully between the three of us and the numerous years of experience of mediumship and spirit art that we've got between us, we will be able to answer your questions. So I'm going to take all the comments off now. And Deb, if I can start with yourself and just ask you to tell us a little bit about your spiritual journey into spirit art, please.
All right, lovely. Yeah, hello everybody. Nice to meet everybody. Yeah, I've been doing drawings as a child, but I was never drawing spirit as I knew it. I was drawing people, but I didn't recognize. But I'd be drawing the people that would be around me, like in front of me, that I'd be drawing my family. But then as I come to the spirit linking with my husband, like now, Keith took me into the spirit church, and I started to do the connection there. I was drawing from the first couple of years of being a medium. But it's taken me, I've been a medium now for 16 years. I've been a spirit artist for about 10 years. But it's taken me such a long time to get to where I am now. And I keep saying to myself, I don't want to be able to do a lot more, maybe to link and draw at the same time. I know a lot of me spirit artists draw and another medium works, but I have done that. I have had a medium do the mediumship and I've done the drawing, but I was wanted more. I have been to Stansted College quite a few times, first for the mediumship to develop that. But then as I was doing the mediumship, I kept getting in my head, you must be doing the drawing. You can draw, do the drawing, but I'm going to come in and draw with you. If you can, well, hello, who's that? As the words come to my head, as they do. But it's this guide has always been with me. And the first person that drew my guide that does the drawing was a lady that most of you might know from Stansted College. I forgot her name at the moment. She draws the pencils and she goes does the drawings together, doing the in a trance connection.
It's
she was the
Lynn Cottrell.
That's the lady. Thank you, Angela. Lynn Cottrell's the one.
I was with her too.
Yeah, she's amazing. Amazing teacher, amazing tutor. And I've done a few of her courses at the Stansted College. I was with her for a couple of years, 3 to 4 years, and then I also went into Alan Struttle's classes also at Stansted College, and he had me doing a lot more drawing up front in front of the other people. It's like, that's scary, but you have to do these, don't you? You have to push yourself. And the one thing I really remember when I was in my early stages is standing at this easel in front of all the people, all the students. And my legs was really shaking. My whole body was shaking. But it wasn't me. It was the person that was coming through from spirit. And I had to draw this person with the shaky legs. It's like trying to draw when your whole body's shaking. But the guy just comes in and does it all for me. And like it does for you. But it's just allowing that to happen and being open and say, well, why isn't it happening? But it is really happening. We just got to Just understand that this comes slowly. It's not going to be an overnight story. And I was in the church trying to come to do it in the church, and the lady that runs the church said, "You're okay. You're fine. You're not brilliant yet. No, you're not working in my church. No." So that was about 7 years ago. So it's really from the COVID that I was working online. I never knew that this live was actually going from the Stansted College. The SNUI was going. That's been going since 08. I didn't know that, but we was a member of it for a year. Didn't know what it was. We never used it. But I was on there for a few years, developing the link stronger with the mediumship. And then I was just doing these circles and the demonstrations. I was watching the demonstrations from Bognor Church that used to be on Zoom. And they said to me, "Well, if you can draw, did you want to have a go at drawing?" I said, "Not really." "Yes, you can." "No, no. You keep saying no. But you know that pull was there. So if you're being pulled, please follow that pull, because the more that I was drawing, I can't see spirit, but the person I was working, one particular person that really stands out with this was Phil Shaw, because he could see the person in spirit and I couldn't. He said, "You're drawing the person I'm seeing. I can't believe this." So it was amazing. So it's just about trusting that. That's my main story, but I now teach it online, as a lot of you know, and I just love it. So
Thank you so much, Rebecca.
Thank you, Veronica.
Thank you. And Angela, would you like to tell us your story?
Okay. I'll try to keep it short. So I've been a medium for about 10 years, and I've been drawing portraits for maybe the last 4 or 5 years, I suppose. But I remember the earliest memories is that I've always, as a child, I've always sketching. I've always been interested in drawing. For some reason, I used to draw faces. So if you looked at my exercise books from school, at the margin, there would always be faces there. And I'd bring them home, and then my mom's like, "Who are these people that you're drawing?" I didn't know. I mean, I'm talking about from 7, 8 years old. There was always faces or something that I was always drawing. But I got interested in fashion design, so it was something that I was always doing as part of it, sketching. But I remember that the earliest time I thought this is interesting, or this is, that moment was, I think I was about 12, and everyone was, and I'm from Malaysia, so evenings, and neighbors, everybody talks to everyone. There was one evening where people were rushing around because apparently there was a guy that basically had got into someone's attic from the roof. So my cousins are visiting, and I had some paper and a pencil, and I started drawing a face. And when my father, brother, and somebody else came back into the house after having seen the guy being arrested, they looked at the picture that I'd drawn, because I was inside the house, and they said, "How do you know what that guy looks like? You were inside." So I was like, "I don't know. I just felt like I needed to draw." Now, this is a mediumship, but clearly there was somebody that was working with me and giving me that face. But that was sort of like that, that's an interesting moment. And throughout the years, I kept drawing, but when I, a year after I had my second proper spiritual awareness and started exploring mediumship and started working as a medium, I went to Egypt, and I had an accident where it was, I had a little a rib contusion or something like that. So I was in a lot of pain that night, and I had lots of visitation. And there was this gentleman that came through, and he said his name was Dioram, and he gave me so much. In the morning, I saw that I had sketched his face, and there was lots of messages. So the next day, when I came back, actually, I painted him, and it was so, I just know this is how he looked, but I know he was a guide. And from that day onwards, I started drawing more and more faces. Not very good, but I've never been a portrait artist. I'm trained in art. I'm more abstract, fantasy kind of person, but I can't draw reality, basically. But just like you, Deb, I ended up going to Arthur Findlay College that year because there was something there, something that happened in Egypt. I was talking to one of my friends from Arthur Findlay College, and they said, well, funny enough, I'm going to a course, and the other course, because Arthur Findlay, they always have two courses in the same weekend, don't they? And that was Lynn Cottrell and Maureen Murneb. I can't pronounce the surname, Murneb. And this is about spirit art in the altered states. And I'm going like, oh, okay, that's exactly what I need. I need to understand why they want me to draw their faces, and what is the what is the reason, what is the link. And it was there where I realized that, aha, okay, so spirit wants me to draw their face, and then they're going to tell me more about themselves. And it came together, because what's in your head becomes a reality on paper. And that's when I started doing it. And it wasn't until the year later where I did my first demonstration, and that was with my circle students, and people that I felt weren't going to judge me. Because I was so scared. I was going like, oh my God, because I only started that properly demonstrating as a medium last year, 1 year ago. So before this, I really haven't done any much demonstration, but this was my first, within trusted people. And it was amazing. I couldn't believe it when I drew a face and somebody could understand the information. It was like, yes, yes, they understand it, And but then I didn't demonstrate after that. I went back to just eventually I started doing that as a add-on service, as to a mediumship reading. But even then, I can't say that I was very confident. But as of last year, that all changed, because being a medium, and when they find out that I'm also a spirit artist, and then they go like, well, can you do it? Can you do spirit art? And I was like, oh, spirit says, mine says no, spirit says yes. So who do you listen to, right? So I think a lot of things opened up as a spirit artist when I started saying yes. Deb, last year, the first time I did, it was an open platform. So I went and did spirit art and an open platform. And when I finished, I had done two. They'd actually said, "Oh, can you continue?" So I did two faces. I was leaving, feeling really high, and this lady came up to me and she said, "I hope you don't mind me saying this, but I think you should concentrate on your mediumship."
Wow.
And she walked away. Now, mind you, the next day, I was a bit, that was an awful thing to say, really. I mean, why did you need to say it? Especially since I thought I did a good job. And I walked away. Well, the story is the next day I found out my brother passed away very suddenly, and I didn't come back. I had to go back to Malaysia, and a month later, I started getting bookings for more media demonstrations, and then I did spirit art, and it was brilliant. It was just wonderful the way the faces came through, etc. It all came, and so I am very proud to say now, after all this time of doubting myself, that I am a spirit artist. Sometimes you get that imposter syndrome, don't you? And I think now I'm going to trust spirit, and the right faces, the right messages will come through. So that's basically my story in a nutshell.
Thank you so much, Angela. And from both of you, that trust in spirit comes through very strongly. And we just have to trust. And that's, I think, key message in any mediumship development is trust spirit. Now, I was going to open up for questions, but Chrissy has got perfect timing because she's asked our first question, which is, if you're not a drawing artist to start with, I presume, do they get better with practice? Well, yes. I think we'll all agree. And mediumship, spirit art, anything in life gets better with practice. It's a muscle. In the same way as your brain's a muscle, the way that you work with spirit needs practice. It's kind of a muscle that needs practice. And the more that you do it, the better you get at it. And Angela, Deb, would you like to add anything to that?
So what I want to say is that even though I have an art background, I did graphic design. It was not fine art. So, and as I said, I can't draw reality. I can't do portraits. I probably make a lot of money as an artist if I do portraits and pets and stuff like that, but I can't. So for me to draw from spirit, it's coming from a very different place. And I don't know whether you ladies can, recognize this, but not all, because it's not just us, but it's also spirit. Sometimes I'm really good at a face, and it looks so realistic and so great, and then I can draw one that looks really childish, and I'm asking myself, how come I did that really well? So I think it's a combination. So the more you work at it, the better you will get at recognizing what spirit wants you to do. I think that's the thing, because sometimes spirits they're guiding us, but they're also telling us to say, no, the nose has to be this way and that way, and to be fair, as long as you put the eyes, the nose, and the mouth in the right places, I think you're fine.
Deb?
Yes. Practice is the only way really to develop the spirit art. I've seen so many people come into my drawing circles, because I do the drawing circles, and people come in that don't draw at all. And it's the meditation, which is also one of the main things that helps to bring that link in, because linking you to your spirit artist guide. It's practice and practice and practice, but it's also having to come in on a regular basis, practice in different circles, practice wherever you go, even in your own time, to draw, and just to allow and to love the drawing, because you're relaxed and you're releasing all what you have for the physical down to that spiritual level, and your guide just blends with you. Just let that guide take over, and your hand will just be guided. You'll just be drawing, it's what you've done until the end. And then you're like, I drew that. You're kidding me. Really? Really? Yes.
But also the thing is, don't be afraid that if your first few drawings look like, very cartoonish and stuff, you have to keep going and you will improve, like Deb said.
Yeah. And Chrissy's hit the nail on the head there, really, because she said, so spirit will draw through you, using you as the physical. Absolutely, Chrissy.
Yeah.
It is very much, you are a channel. That's it. It's not you. You're just a channel for spirit to do these wonderful things with. Okay. Right. Our next question is actually a more fundamental one from Kelly. How do we know there is life after death without hearing from loved ones? So not really a spirit art one, but definitely a spirit one. So Deb, would you like to answer this one first?
I've always felt that with our physical energy. We are always being a part of spirit energy. We don't realize or recognize it, but it's when you start to do the developing and you start to sense things that are around you. That's the start of your spirit journey, and that is what brings you closer. Going to the spiritual churches or on Zoom, these Zooms have been life-changing for so many people, because not everybody overseas has a church. Not everybody overseas are able to link to somebody that's like-minded. And this is where Veronica comes in with her amazing things that she does here to share what we do. And it's about just allowing that to happen, because you will become more connected. And it is mainly through meditations that brings that link with your own spirit. And then your loved ones, you'll hear your loved ones, you'll feel your loved ones, and you'll be able to also start to connect them in your own way through mediumship, and then if you wanted through drawing, but it's your own journey.
Thank you, Deb. Angela?
So that Kelly, I don't believe that you need to have a connection or to hear from your loved one specifically to understand there is life after death. You could go to a spiritualist church and see people getting in messages from somebody else, from a medium, and them being able to validate that information to see that connection from the afterlife. Because from in many circumstances, the medium is a visiting medium who doesn't know the audience, first of all. So if for your own development, if you're curious, then going in, like Deb said, about going into a circle in terms of meditation, asking for signs from your loved one, from spirit, can be useful as well. And don't dismiss the messages that you may be getting in your dreams, because they may not come through say a medium or or in other ways, but they might come in your dreams. So so if you're curious about it, there are ways of doing it. But what my question for you, Kelly, is, have you been to see a medium? How whether you got a message or not, that's the other thing.
And if you do go to a medium, is making sure that you get the level of validation that you need, that it's not vague information, and only your proper reputable mediums can do this. There are so many scammers across Facebook and online. It's unbelievable. And all they do is go onto people's profiles and get as much information about them from the profiles and just feed it back to them, and then charge them stupid amounts of money. And there's no need for it. There's absolutely brilliant mediums come on and do lives every day of the week. There are mediums doing lives, and they are reputable, well-trained, experienced mediums doing that. You shouldn't need to go off on dubious ones, especially the ones that say, send me your left hand. Block them straight away.
Can I say, Veronica, can I just suggest to everyone that's watching and listening, please don't go to TikTok and try to get readings. Please, I beg you. Because there are people there that, PayPal me £5 or $10, whatever it is. And they just said, they pick a card, or they your grandma says, split up with your boyfriend, or whatever it is, really quick random messages, and they're not connected to source.
Yeah.
Or you're just there.
Absolutely. And if you get a direct message from anybody offering a reading, just block them, because they're a scammer, because reputable mediums will not do that. Anyway, that's our nag over. Let's go to another question. Bernadette, I've always just drawn eyes, one eye to be specific. I've been doing this since I was a child. I still do it now. Does that mean anything? I don't draw faces. Angela, your turn to be first.
You see, I'm kicking myself now, because I have one of my paintings now, Bernadette. when I was trained as into graphic design, we had to do projects, etc. And I always painted. I was painting all the time, and the thing that I absolutely loved drawing was eyes. Eyes. And I remember there was a painting that I did, which was really, I don't know. I mean, it was somebody in a yoga pose, but it was the eyes above, and it was like it was meant to be the eyes of God or something like that. But my parents, people got a bit freaked out because it was so realistic, apparently. But I used to draw, and I still draw eyes. I'm absolutely fascinated. And when you and most of my draw portraits as well, it's in the eyes. So keep going, because everything else will develop with that. So the faces will come.
Yeah. Okay. Deb, did you want to add anything, or?
I was just going to say, like what Angela's just said, I started off with eyes, then I went on to noses, then I went on to ears, then I went on to mouths, do it separately, little bits at a time, and then try to put it all together. And it'll be a bit askew, but it comes together in the end. Yes.
And there's a lovely comment here, and I so agree with it. Casey Foster's saying the eyes are the windows to the soul. And they are. There's so much information in an eye. You can see a person's age, their background, sort of their stress levels, their tiredness, all sorts of things just in their eyes. It's incredible, just drawing an eye and the level of information you can get from that. So, yeah, right. There was, again, a nice basic question about spirit. So Andrea Reese always wondered what they do in the spirit world. And when a medium says, I've got a lady gentleman coming in, where do they come in from? And where are they coming in? Right. Do you mind if I launch into this
that's
one?
fine, yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Right. The way I perceive the spirit world is that it's just another dimension. Now, mathematically, mathematicians have already proved that there's 10 different dimensions. We know of the 4 different dimensions of up, down, backwards, forwards, side to side, and time. So there's your 4 dimensions that we live in every day. But there's other dimensions that we've got no concept of what they are. And personally, I firmly believe that the spirit world is just another dimension that lives alongside us in the same way as the 4 other dimensions that we know of and experience every day as part of our everyday lives. So when they're coming in, it means that they're coming into us, that they're coming into our sensory aura, that we can pick up information from them. I'm a sensory medium, so I sense spirit either through smells, taste. They overlay experiences in terms of physical experiences that they've had and emotions that they have. They will give me memories sometimes, and very occasionally I'll hear words as well, like names and things like that. So when a medium says they're coming in, they mean they're coming into their aura. Okay, so that's my explanation. Deb, do you feel the same, Angela?
Yeah, absolutely.
I do feel the same. And the connection really builds and grows, doesn't it? We learn to understand that our loved ones have returned to spirit, but I do know that they do follow on with their own journey in spirit. That's what I've heard so many times. Because we do move on, don't we? We're not going to be standing still, are we?
No, always learning.
Yeah.
Right. Anne Swantek, can you talk your loved ones how to connect with them? Do you mean, Anne, can you be taught how to connect with your loved ones? Do you think that's what she means with it?
It could be.
Can you talk your loved one? You certainly can talk to your loved ones, absolutely, because they're in spirit around you, they're next to you, they're there. Just talk to them, how you connect to them. It's a journey of mediumship. And it, as you've already heard from Deb and Angela, in terms of your journey in developing to be a medium, it's a journey, and it can take years. People seem to be developing quicker and quicker these days. And I remember 30 years ago down at Stansted, people were talking about how they'd been told, Spirit was saying that they're going to speed the process up. Because when I developed, I think I was sitting in circle for about 3 or 4 years. And I can't see anybody waiting that long these days, because everything seems to have speeded up an awful lot. But to develop, you sit in circle, in a development circle, because there's a big, big difference between an open circle and a development circle. An open circle is a practice circle where you practice the skills you've already learnt. Development circle is where you actually learn how to do it in the first place. Expect to pay for most development circles, not all. Some people very kindly offer that service for free, but you'll get a lot of people obviously on those. But practice circles, loads of them. Loads and loads of them, but free ones. Angela, you look as though you got something there.
Remember I said I was drawing eyes. Let me just take my virtual. Yeah. I just messaged my husband and bring, I'm in, so you're going to see my, this is full disclosure. This is my husband's office, board games and model trains, basically. I was trying to hide it. So anyway, so I'm in Psychic News this week, this month, April, and this is one of my drawings about the eye.
Oh wow!
Wow, amazing!
That is beautiful.
You know? Yeah, it was weird because it was not something I would have chosen, to be fair. But they went through my website, my page, and they said, "Oh, we really love it." Blah blah blah. So, but you see, this is the thing. You see, so I went from, I painted this probably about 4 years ago, maybe something like that. And it's interesting that whenever I have that on sale, I've got prints of this, it's usually people who are developing or mediums who like it because they feel it is sort of the window into the soul and all that, but I just wanted to show that that's what I've done as well. Say hi.
It's also the third eye, isn't it? So the third eye is our viewpoint in the camera and the picture screen. So that's why the eye is so important.
Yes, exactly.
Brilliant.
Ooh, interesting question.
Okay, so when someone is very private in life, do they tend to not want to connect after passing? Well, do you mind if I again?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because it's a twofold answer with this one, because there's two elements going on. As a medium who senses spirit, I sense their personality. So if they are a quiet, very private person in life, I will sense just a private person withdrawn, and that's what comes across. Now, through my journey of mediumship, I have learnt to recognize that. So I learnt to recognize that when I've just got this withdrawn, that actually it's because that's what the person was like, rather than that there's nothing really there and it's difficult to link into. Yeah. And in some ways, a better example is when I used to do a lot of platform work years ago, and I'd just suddenly stop. I'd just get nothing from spirit, and I'd be, Spirit, what's happening? I'm getting all of this information, and then there'd be nothing, and it just panic and just this nothing. And I never understood what it was. And then I went through a period of my own life where I had quite severe depression and anxiety, and the penny dropped. That when I got that on the platform, it was because the person in spirit had gone through the same thing, and that's what they were giving me. So on your journey of being a medium, part of that journey is learning to recognize the different things that spirit are giving you in the way that they give you. So when a person is very private in their life, they will come across as withdrawn and not wanting to share and all the rest of it. And if it's not a very experienced medium, they could well be saying, well, I don't really get anything, or I don't really sense very much from them, because they're not actually recognizing that actually the person's a private person, and all they need is for you to say, well, actually, I've got your uncle here. He was a very private person. He really didn't like to talk to people, but he's here talking to me now. And once you've given that evidence and said who they are, they'll get on with the rest of the reading. So you see, it will depend upon the medium as to their ability to recognize that very private person coming through. Okay.
I also have heard a few times over that some mediums, not mediums, the people in spirit are drawn to a particular medium to come through. So they might not have found the right person to come through straight away, but they come through when they find the right channel to become the message giver as well.
Okay. Krista's got an interesting one, because I'm sure that there's a few different views on Ouija boards, but it's a good one to discuss. Deb, views?
Yeah, I've actually been in a circle in my church where the one teacher uses the Ouija board, especially at Christmas and Easter time, and they would use the board and they would use the letters, the alphabet, to do the writing and the messages. And that is used quite a lot, isn't it, in the physical mediumship side of it. But some of the other people don't always like it. It depends really what church you're in and what you really want to be. But in my eyes, it's okay to do, because it's mediums that's been coming through with the messages. But yes, they.
Angela?
Well, if I remember correctly, the board was actually created as a game for children in many years ago, but then it was taken over by, I think Hollywood and so on, to give us this sort of narrative that the spirits are all going to be conjured because we put a few words together. In the old days, I'm pretty sure that you could have taken pieces of paper and put it on a table and said, spirit, move the glass to an A, to a B, to C. It's no different from glass divination, for example, isn't it? Yes and no, and move the glass, etc. Right now, my really first experience with it was a slightly unfortunate one, but it's not unfortunate for the reasons that you think it's unfortunate. It was filming for an Amazon show, which thankfully, didn't take off. So I was there, and I was as the medium with a celebrity, etc. So they expected spirits to be conjured up and levitating, all sorts of stuff. That didn't actually happen. It was, I felt the energy of spirit, on the is it planchon, right? Yeah. I felt it. I felt like it was vibrating, and it was answering questions, and it was in a place that I've been with a paranormal company that I used to work for. And many times. So I was actually familiar with the spirits, and I know there was a lot of children in there as well. So I know that there was, we were in a safe environment anyway. And it was interesting, they actually answered certain questions that I had very well, but it wasn't the result that the people there were expecting. They were expecting and all that stuff. It didn't happen. It was actually I felt it was a very beautiful connection. My thoughts on this is that a lot of people go really surprised when spirit respond to a question or whatever. I'm going like, well, you're asking spirit to communicate with you. They have. Then why are you scared? But if you ask stupid, silly questions, such as the end time, and people tend to ask very dark questions to spirit, And I don't feel that spirit like those sort of questions. So sometimes I think they get a bit cheeky, because it's like someone asking me, how much do you weigh? Now you're not going to get it straight out. Not going to have a nice answer when you ask me that, will you? You know, it's like those sort of questions. You know, it's just a tool. I know somebody that does an angel board, except they've put images of angels on it, etc., and beautiful. And I remember people saying that this lady somewhere in London has a waiting list of 2 years for these readings or something. You know, I don't know. How different is it from angel cards? I don't know. But everything is a tool. It is how you use it and what you expect of it. That's my, I don't think it's evil.
No, and the thing with Ouija board and any physical phenomena is that if it's being used through a medium, then it will be spirit contact from the other side, because we as mediums are that channel. But if it's like teenage boys playing with it, then it will just be their physical energy, their psychic physical energy that will be moving that. And it will be their own thoughts and their own fears that drive the energy that move it. It won't be spirit at all. The spirit will be standing beside thinking, what on earth they're doing? Because it will just be their own physical psychic energy creating, especially, as you say, when they ask all of these dark questions and all the rest of it. That Hollywood, as you say, has built up this whole industry of fear and horror around something that is actually beautiful and everyday to mediums. So
absolutely.
yeah.
I used to work, as I said, I used to work for a paranormal company. So I traveled all over UK with them, and I've stood in very dark, damp, scary area, buildings, and people expecting me to go to be possessed or to do the thing, and I'm really calm, and and I'll be like, oh, bringing stories of loved ones, and they're expecting something, so I always start saying, like, don't expect me to go around screaming my head off, running around, etc., tearing my clothes about. I don't want to do any of that. I'm going to tell you their stories. If you're here in a positive light way, and you can see their eyes, they're already blurry eyed by then, because they're expecting that Hollywood paranormal.
And this next question actually fits into this very much, because do you ever get nasty spirits coming through? Well, in 30 years of mediumship, no. I've had some spirits who were not very nice people when they were on the earth plane, but there were people that were coming through in a service as me as a platform medium, and I'm giving this evidence to a person in the audience as such, and saying, look, they are saying when they were on the earth plane, they were not a very nice person. They were not very nice to be around, etc., etc. So if you mean in that way, yes, but not in the way that you're thinking of. I don't know whether Deb or Angela have had different experiences but
growing up in Malaysia, and there's lots of very old-fashioned views on spirit and mediums and stuff like that, and also black magic. It's a lot of black magic. People talk about black magic a lot. I have seen some things that I still can't explain. I have had experiences I can't explain, and I can say that this house that I moved in, at the very beginning, there was a lot of things that happened, including being pushed down the stairs, a knife just out of the, I don't know how, but I was doing the washing up, and suddenly the knife that was laid down like that was up, and I had my blink of an eye, and my had blood in my hands, and I was like, oh my God, I was telling my husband the house is haunted, blah blah, and he said, well, I lived here 2 years before you moved in, and it was fine. Total engineer, he's not spiritual in any way, but I couldn't understand it. But when I when I did my first development, I didn't go through development circle, Veronica. There was none in Malaysia, and I didn't know where to go when I lived, in the UK either. My first attempt at development was a 5-day workshop in Edinburgh with James Van Broek and Tony Stockwell. I was the only person who was not a working medium. Okay, that's how my introduction to mediumship.
Wow.
Yeah, but no one believed me when I said I wasn't a medium because they thought I was, But the moment I did that, and the subsequent months that led me to Arthur Finlay, to my very first Arthur Finlay, I can say that I have not had any bad experiences in this house. And I believe, this is what I believe, that they were spirit that were existing. They knew I needed to be who I am now. They needed me to step into my power, and they were pushing me, and they were trying to give me signs that, look, we are here. And of course, they probably needed to be quite drastic to get my attention. So they needed to do stuff that would make me go, that they needed to do that. And since then, I have spirit visit and so on, but it's more because they want me to draw their faces, which I always stick into Veronica's group. And or if they are visiting and they're just here I acknowledge, speak to them, and they go away. So there's no nastiness. But I truly believe that they were in this house trying to shake me. And the first exercise where I worked with another medium and to do a reading, and she said, I'll go first. My father came through in Edinburgh, and he said to me, finally, you're here. So that was his, so my father was part of that, what was going on in the house. So there you go. That's my perspective.
Brilliant. Deb?
Yes, the thing with the house and places being where there is spirit is a lot of the time the person that is given the connection, the contact, is normally the person that lived in the house before. There's my teacher, she had to do a clearance, and she was the person that she was clearing, and the spirit from that building was still there, and she did get a back from them, but the time, leave me a house, let me have my house back. But no, I never experienced or heard of anybody, any dark energies. It depends really how you work, because as a medium we work in love and light, and this is how we should work. It's in love and light only.
Okay. So Sarah is asking, why do some spirits take longer to come through to their loved ones and some come through straight away? Do they go through some kind of healing after passing into the spirit world? Deb, you're nodding your head there, so would you like to take this one first?
I definitely understand this one, because people that have ailments and problems, they suffer for a long time. I'm one of these that have had a problem for a long time. But it's also when you have the spirit linking, it also you come back quicker because you're also connected to the people here. But those that are there's sometimes they take time and they need healing in spirit, and that they do have to go through a process in spirit where they have the healing, and that they go through, like I've been told so many times that they go through the process of their lives, of what they have lived, to re-see it through the spirit world's eyes that have watched and seen them. But yes, I do believe that they need to have a healing sometimes first. So yes, but the spirit linking does help that. Thank you. Yes.
I just want to what you said, Deb, about going through a timeline. So I lost. This is so personal to me. So I lost my mom at the beginning of the pandemic in the US. So I couldn't travel. When she passed, for the first 3 days, I couldn't do anything because she was showing me, and I was going through the entire timeline with her. I was going through, like, and suddenly I'll be talking to my husband. It's like, oh no, I'm in 1989, and and I'm there. I'm there. I'm watching with her. She's watching and she's experiencing. She's not just going through. She's actually experiencing the timeline as she's going through it. And what I understood from what she was watching as an observer was that she was picking certain memories to take with her. And it was the most special thing that you could ever experience as a human being, not just media, a human being, to be part of what your loved one in spirit is going through days after they passed. So that was something I will never forget. I can't even describe it. I was trying to describe to my husband, who is an engineer, by the way. I hope he's not listening. But the how special and magical that felt. So I do believe that they go through the timeline. I feel that it is quite a complex, Sarah, because I feel that when, for example, and God forbid this should happen at any time soon, but the three of us, for example, mediums, when we go into spirit, when our time to be reunited with our loved ones comes, it'll be easier for us to come through because we understand how to work with the medium, how, we know exactly what to do, right? But for some people, it might be easier for them to observe and, to come forward and say, right, okay. And it's like, when you've never done something, especially mediumship, etc., others are doing it so easily, to actually step through and to, okay, how do I work with all of this? So I feel some people take longer because they're observing and they're trying to do things. This is sort of has been with my brother who passed last year. It's like it's very bits and pieces with him, because he was it's like he wants to know how everything works before he does it. Okay, I don't know whether that makes sense. And also religious, sometimes some people have religious, I'm sure you guys, Veronica and Debs, you found that especially those who are very deep in religious, deeply religious, when they were here, for example, Catholics will not agree with what we're doing, for example, right? And you find that they find it, they're finding it harder to come through or to get that message, but they want to come and give the message, but they just feel they have that human physical block, in the sense, to get through in order to be able to do to work with the medium. But definitely the healing is definitely part of it, I suppose. But at the end of the day, we don't really know exactly. Some will say, they can't connect. They said, oh, they're just not ready yet, or it's not time, or it's too soon after they've passed, etc. Those are the excuses for not connecting with somebody, isn't it? Because they don't understand it. But
there's many readings there, isn't there's many reasons for why they don't come forward. There could be different
Exactly. But the usual cop out is, I think it's too soon, give it another 5 years and come back and see me, kind of thing, because I've heard some people say that, and I'm just going like, okay, if you don't have explanation, don't give one, but if it's it could just be I don't really believe that there's a right medium and so on, because one of the things that say Jackie Wright, the president of SNU, has said recently as well, it's that they don't choose the medium, they just choose the one that they can get to when they can. It's an opportunity, but I know that my mother-in-law, for example, she would never go to a very formal, very traditional medium. She'd like somebody that was like a bit like a hippie like her.
That's what I mean. They're drawn to different mediums for different reasons. Yeah,
exactly.
There is a thing around that I've sensed with myself, with some people, is that if the passing is really recent, then both the person in spirit is still adjusting to that, and that is a thing, but also the emotions tied up to it. Because remember, especially if we're a sensory medium, we sense the emotions that spirit has. And if there's a lot of sorrow, a lot of pain, emotional pain, they're putting that on us, and that's difficult for us. And it can be a block to the medium to be able to have that contact. That's because fine. They're just too emotional, can't do the reading because there's just too much emotion involved. And therefore, sometimes there does need to be that little bit of time just for the system to settle down a bit to be able to get through those emotions. Okay.
Yeah, that's true, isn't it, Veronica? Because the person might be too upset for them to come forward straight away.
Yeah. I think it's really mixed, isn't it? Because there's been times where strange situations where I've had somebody come and sit down, and say, "Oh, I booked this 2 weeks ago, and my father died this morning." And I was like, "Oh my God, the pressure, the pressure!"
Yeah.
But he did. He came through beautifully,
Fantastic.
And sometimes 2 years and somebody doesn't want to come through. So it's again, it's something we can't explain.
Yeah. So Katie says, do you think that poor mental health can have implications on developing mediumship psychic skills? Because I'm struggling to connect. I meditate and try to open up, but I'm getting nowhere. Well, Katie, I can tell you from my own personal experience, I've already said about a period of time, it was about 4 or 5 years, a period of time that I went through of the very significant anxiety, very severe depression. And in that period of time, I've been a medium for 25 years before that, 20 years before that. So, and just suddenly it all stopped. I couldn't connect. I had crisis in my faith because I couldn't sense spirit. And that anxiety and that depression is a block, unfortunately. So if you want to develop your mediumship, sort your mental health issues out first. It just, for me, I don't know about anybody else, but certainly for me, it was a block for me for that period of time. I got a lot of professional support, and I'm in a very different place now, thank God. And my mediumship's better than it's ever been, thank you. Thank you, Spirit. But do get your mental health issues sorted out first before going into mediumship and developing, because you do need to have that sense of whole within yourself and a sense of self to be able to differentiate between what you're sensing and what is spirit. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's also about loving yourself too, isn't it? And when you've got this mental state, you just don't love yourself. You just don't. And it is about got to love yourself, then it moves forward.
Yeah. Okay. So there's been a lot of backroom chat about the Ouija boards. Sandra's dog's just joined her on her bed. Oh, wonderful, Andrea. Her dad came through just before his funeral. So, any more questions?
I'd love to see spirit, because one funeral that I went to, the man was there, but I couldn't see him, but my friends could see him.
Oh, isn't that lovely? Sorry, it's a long bit of text. Bernadette's saying, I asked my fiance to find a way to come back to tell me I was right about the spirit world and to go and find my dog. The very same morning he passed, I got home and my medium answered my question. He said it was beautiful there and he'd found the dog. No one knew that I'd asked him to do so. So there's evidence for Bernadette. And when we've been talking earlier about getting evidence, then it's that kind of evidence that we're talking about. Can grief stop someone coming through? Well, that goes back to those emotions, but yes, it can. It can. And because the medium's reaction to you, as well as everything else, it can be a block.
And it's also because my friend's just lost her partner about a year ago, and she wants him to come through so much, and she's wanting it so much. It's just putting a block in it underway because he's trying, but she can't see it. But he's there.
Well, that's all of our questions that I can see coming through, and we just bang on after the hour, so that's super. So if I can say thank you to Angela and to Deb, I'm going to give you a couple of minutes each to just tell everybody how people can contact you, what you offer, what you're up to next, that kind of thing. So Angela, if I can start with you.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for inviting me to be on the show. It's definitely been a very interesting evening. So you can find me on my website www.angela-mitchell.co.uk. So I do readings with Spirit Portrait as well, but I'm also on platform Medium. So but I only do work around Berkshire at the moment. But all my readings, everything is on Zoom. I also have a free Facebook group called Angela Mitchell Spiritual Circle. I can't even remember the name. It's Angela Mitchell's Spiritual Circle. It's a free group where you can just ask questions and share, etc. So, well, hopefully catch up with you sometime soon.
Thank you, Angela. Yeah. Deb.
Hello, everybody. I'm Deb King, Spirit Artist and Medium. I have got my own Facebook page, which I advertise everybody else's circles and demonstrations. I also teach how to draw the spirit world, animals and people, different circles for both of these. And I do the development circles where they practice and they draw at the same time with working mediums that are doing just the mediumship, so it's interlinked. But it's just about practice and about sharing and spreading this and bringing more spirit artists into our network that we work with. Yeah.
Sarah's asked whether I can put this info on the group. So yes, Angela, Deb, just send me the info and I'll put a post together on the group with all of this information. And for those that don't know me, I'm Veronica Jenkins. I run FindMeAMedium. It's my group, the online Spirit Portraits group, that most of you will be watching this on tonight. I've got quite a few different things on, ranging from daily lists of events that are happening all across the world. I think it was about 70 events today that you could have had access to. Most of them are free. My list is just £5 a month and you get the list every day. What else? Oh, there's just lots else. So just find my website and have a look and come along and see whether I can help you in any way.
And it's well worth coming to it because I do the same. I do subscribe to her and she does share my posters. So I recommend it, please.
Well, to be fair, you don't have. I share people's posters anyway, and that's on my online Spiritualist Churches group. So if you've got an online event, share it on that group, and it'll get added to my daily lists. Whether you know.
Sorry,
if you want to know what's going on, go on there, as well as Deb's page. And thank you, everybody, for joining us.
Thank you.
I was thinking of doing a regular one similar to this. If people listening would like that, please just message me or put on the Facebook group what you'd be interested in me chatting with other people about, whether it's inviting Deb and Angela back again or whether we just do a different subject every time. Just let me know. Okay, so thank you, everybody, and we'll see you all again soon. Thank you. Bye.